Hey, today we're going to talk about Saxon Course 2, Lesson 96. Now, part of this lesson is about estimating the measurement of angles. The other part is using a distributive property. Let's look at our first example. Part A says we're going to estimate the measure of angle BOC in the figure below. The next thing we're going to be doing is we're going to be actually using a protractor. A protractor, imagine that. And then we will decide whether the two measurements are actually the same or if we're off a little bit. One of the best things we can use to measure angles is a clock. Now, if you think about a clock face, a clock has 60 minutes, and a circle has 360 degrees. So, if we take a clock face and we divide it by 60, we would find that each 5 minutes, we take 360 and we divide it by 60, we would find that each 5 minutes is worth how many degrees? Well, 360 divided by 60, 60 times, so every minute is 6 degrees, so 5 minutes would be 30 degrees. So, 6 and 30. So if we look at angle BOC, we would see that, there's 5 minutes there, so that's 30 degrees, 5 minutes there, that's 60 degrees, and then we've got just a couple, 3 minutes there, so what do you think? 65, 70, somewhere in there. Well, in fact, if we guess that it's about 12 minutes, then we would take 12, multiply it times 6, and our guesstimate would be 72. Or we could think that it was more like 13 minutes, so we'd take 13 times 6 and be 78. Which one do you think's right? Well, let's see. This is a protractor, and if you look at the protractor and you look at the blue arrow, you'll see that it's pointing right there. And what is that measurement? Remember, when you're measuring with a protractor and the angle opens to the right, you're going to use the inside ring. So the measurement of this angle is actually 0 up to right in at 75 degrees. We were off just a little. We were maybe 2 degrees below or 2 degrees above. As you can see, we were just a little bit off. 3 degrees is not a whole lot. The clock face is a really good thing to use to estimate. Now, if we look at estimating using a clock face, if we just draw an angle on there, we can pretty quickly come up with an idea of what we think it is. If we remember that 1 minute is 6 degrees. If we look at this, we have 5 minutes here, so that's 30. Another 5 minutes there, so that's 60. And man, we're almost to the third 5 minutes. Well, 30 plus 30 plus almost 30 is almost 60, 90 degrees. Well, it certainly isn't 36. So there's no way that this could estimate to be 36 degrees. Now on this slide, we're going to use the distributive property, and we'll find that these problems look the same, but the outcome is going to be just a little bit different. One thing we have to remember, whenever we have a minus inside those parentheses, we're going to want to change that minus to plus a negative. Okay? Plus a negative. And plus a negative. Okay? So I'll rewrite A. 2 times x plus a negative 3. And I want to use the distributive property, so I'll go 2 times x, which is 2x, plus 2 times negative 3, which is negative 6, and that's the answer, 2a. Now, if we look over here at b, we have negative 2 times x plus 3. Okay, now we'll go ahead and use distributive property. Negative 2 times x is a negative 2x plus negative 2 times 3 is a negative 6. And that is the answer to B. We're just simplifying. We're not actually finding a numerical answer. For C, we have negative 2 times x plus negative 3. We're going to use distributive property. Negative 2 times x is a negative 2x plus negative 2 times a negative 3 is a positive 6. And we are done. The last one on this page is x, oh, it's not a number on the outside, be careful, times x plus a negative 3, because remember we changed this minus 3 to plus a negative. So, we'll take x times x, which gives us x squared, plus x times a negative 3, which gives us negative 3x. Now remember, you can always write this as x squared minus 3x. Okay? Anytime you have plus a negative, you can do that. Like this one here, you could write this as 2x minus 6, too. Either of them would be correct. And this one could be negative 2x minus 6 as well. Okay? Now, this very last problem has a little bit more to it. It's not that hard, but you have to kind of think about it. So we'll rewrite it. We've got x squared plus 2x plus 3 times x minus 2. Now, we're going to put plus a negative here, so we don't have to mess with the minuses. And we'll rewrite it as x squared plus 2x plus, now we have to operate. PEMDAS tells us we have to do this. So we have 3 times x, which is 3x, and then 3 times negative 2, which is negative 6. Now, we have a couple things we could combine, because we're simplifying. We won't have a number answer, but we'll simplify. These two right here could be combined. So we end up with x squared plus 2 plus 3 is 5x minus 6. Or, remember, we could write this as x squared plus 5x plus a negative 6. Either one of these answers would be okay. Now, on this very last slide, this one's a lot like the one that we were just working, but just a tiny bit different. Okay, so we have x squared plus 2x minus 3 times x minus 2. Again, we've got some minuses in there that we kind of like to do something with. So I'm going to rewrite this as x squared plus 2x plus a negative 3 times x plus negative 2. Okay, now, got to do the next step. We have x squared plus 2x plus, okay, now I'm going to take a negative 3 times x, which is a negative 3x, plus negative 3 times negative 2, which is a positive 6. Now I'm ready to combine some things here, okay? I think we'll do this. We have x squared plus, okay, we have 2x and a minus 3x. One's positive, one's negative, so subtract and take the sign of the larger number. 3 minus 2 is 1. Negative 3 was larger, so it's a negative 1x plus 6. Remember that you could also write this way. X squared minus 1x plus 6. Now, folks, that's this whole lesson, and we are done with it at this point. If you have any questions, be sure that you bring them to class, and we'll try to handle them then. You guys have a great time. Get your homework done. Do what you're supposed to do. And remember, write those problems out.